future CPAs of DYCI. We are the group named Taxmaniacs from BSA 1B at kami po ay naatasan to discuss the Philippine Accounting Standard 16 or PAS 16, which centers the standards na ina-apply natin for the treatment of property, plant, and equipment or the so-called PPE. Bawat isa po sa amin in the group is assigned to discuss essential topics with regards to PPE. And without further ado, let's get started. But before that, let me state our learning objectives na ina-expect natin to achieve at the end of our discussion. First, we may be able to learn the recognition criteria, initial measurement and subsequent measurement of PPE. And also, we may be able to know how to apply the principles of PAS 16 in the basic computations of a PPE's cost depreciation, carrying amount, and revaluation surplus, as well as the gain or loss on its disposal. And now, let's proceed to our discussion. Unahin natin yung scope ng PAS 16. Ang PAS 16 applies to all items of PPE except to the following for which other standards apply. Ito yung mga items na ibang standard ang ginagamit or gagamitin natin. Like for example, assets classified as held for sale kung saan ang PFRS 5 na nakafocus on non-current asset, held for sale, and discontinued operations applies. Isa pang example is biological assets other than bare plants. PFRS 41 naman ang ina-apply dito because PAS 16 applies to bare plants only pero it does not apply to the produce on bare plants. Next naman yung recognition and measurement of exploration and evaluation asset kung saan PFRS 6 ang ginagamit. Kasama din dito ang mineral rights and mineral reserves such as oil, natural gas, and similar non-regenerative resources kasi PFR 6 is for the treatment of exploration for an evaluation of mineral resources. In the discussion of PPE, we need to always remember ang mga sumusunod para malaman natin what we can consider PPEs and not. Una, PPE are tangible asset. Ito yung mga nahawakan, nakikita, and so on and so forth. Ito yung mga may physical attributes or substance ika nga. Secondly, PPE rather are used in business. And dapat, we consider an item one of the PPE if it is long-term in nature, as what it literally implied, dapat pangmatagalan at paggagamit higit sa isang accounting period. Ang isang item ng PPE is recognized kung, una, it is probable that future economic benefit associated with the item will flow to the entity. Since sinabi nga natin kanina, the characteristic of PPE, ito ay tangible asset at alam naman natin, ang isang asset ay magiging asset lamang if it will provide benefit sa atin or the business per se. And dapat, sa pangalawang characteristic, PPE is used in the business. And lastly, ang cost of the item can be measured reliably.
Let's talk about initial measurement. When a financial asset or financial liability is recognized initially, an entity should measure it at its fair value. And also, it is measured at a fair value through profit or loss. When you say cost, it is monetary value of expenditures for raw materials, equipment, and etc. Cost comprises the following: A. Purchase price including import duties, non-refundable purchase taxes, less trade discount and rebates. B. Direct cost of bringing the asset to the location and condition necessary for it to be used in the manner intended by the management. C. Initial estimate of dismantlement, removal and site and restoration costs for which the entity incurs an obligation by acquiring or using the asset other than to produce inventories. This is the illustration. Entity A acquires equipment on January 1, 20/1. Information on cost is as follows. It goes like this. Purchase price is 1 million. minus net of trade discount, which is 10,000, is equals to 990,000, plus freight cost, which is 20,000, plus testing cost, which is 30,000, minus net disposal, which is 5,000, plus present value of dismantle cost, which is 6,209, is equals to 1,041,209. Your initial measurement is 1,041,209. The third one is the costs that are expensed outright. When you say expense outright, is an accounting and bookkeeping application that assists small businesses with managing their business income and expenses. In short, it provides them with a means of organize and categorize of expenses. The fourth one is incidental operation. When you say incidental operation, these are before or during the construction of PPE, are not necessary bringing the PPE to the location and condition necessary for it to be capable of operating in the manner intended by the management. In short, are considered to be any revenue generating activities conducted during the development period of a property which are used to reduce the development cost of property. Example of incidental operation. An organization might elect to continue renting space in an office building prior to learning if down and replacing it with condominiums. These operations are separate from any activities intended to generate a return on the use of the property. The last one is self-constructed asset. When you say self-constructed asset, simply means that a business elects to build under its own management. Self-constructed asset includes direct labor and material and overhead costs. For the last one, a common example of self-constructed asset is when company choose to build an entire facility.
Bearer plants is used in the production or supply of agricultural produce, is expected to bear produce for more than one period, and has a remote likelihood of being sold as agricultural produce, except for incidental scrap sales. Bearer plants are accounted for similar to self-constructed assets. PAS 16 uses the term construction to include activities that are necessary to cultivate the bearer plants before they are in the location and condition necessary to be capable of operating in the manner intended by management. Measurement of cost, measured by cash price equivalent at the acquisition date. If payment is deferred beyond normal credit terms, the difference between the CPE and the total payment is recognized as interest over the credit period. PPE, acquired through an exchange of non-monetary assets, is measured with the following order of priority. 1. Fair value of the asset given up. 2. Fair value of the asset received. And 3. Carrying amount of the assets given up. Subsequent expenditure. Subsequent expenditure on PPE, recognized as expense. Cost of day-to-day servicing of a PPE, the repair and maintenance expense. And B. Incurred costs while an item capable of operating in the manner intended by management has yet to be brought into use or is operated at less than full capacity. C. Initial operating losses. And D. Cost of relocating or organizing part of all or all of the entity's operation. PAS 16 specifically addressed the capitalization of the following subsequent expenditure. A. Replacement cost, example are aircraft parts and equipments, and B. Major inspection. Our example is cruise ship for continuous sailing must obtain permit after a major inspection. Subsequent measurement. There are two types of measurement: the cost model, A PPE is carried at its cost less and accumulated depreciation and any accumulated impairment losses. And B. Revaluation model gives a business the option of carrying a fixed asset at its revalued amount. Subsequent to the revaluation, the amount carried on the books in the asset's fair value less subsequent accumulated depreciation and accumulated impairment losses.